in for a few hour talk here.
I caught him off guard too, because I had texted him initially and I was like, hey, can you jump on this Zoom call and talk about YouTube a little bit on Thursday? He's like, sure. And then when I told him, I was like, yeah, I was like, it's pretty casual. I was like, there's 20 or 30 people, maybe 40. And then he's like, oh, I thought it was just me and you. And I was like, oh no. I was like, thank you for jumping on just to share with me though. But no, you're sharing to the world.
Anytime.
This is an international call, Burn. I see Canada represented with Kristen.
Nice.
And I see Arizona, I see San Francisco, I see Kansas City. So we got peeps all over the country.
Very cool, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Dope. All right. So guys, so first and foremost, I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to talk about some YouTube accounts that I think are doing it really well, including Burns. But a few different key differentiators between short form and long form video here is that YouTube in and of itself, right? We already kind of know it's more like a search engine versus TikTok or Instagram, which kind of are more interest based or follower based. They're going to feed you content based on who you like, who you follow. Sorry, my dog seems to want to walk around. So if you hear my dog pitter patter, so basically like your Instagram, your TikTok, and even to an extent your YouTube shorts, right? Those are giving you things based on interests and people that you follow. Whereas YouTube long form is very much more a keyword based or a search engine. So with those type of things, your video might be longer form. It's shot in horizontal versus vertical, although you can do it in vertical too, but it's the primary viewing window is a horizontal aspect ratio. And people are going to YouTube to usually search something. So on YouTube, more specifically, like your title and your keywords matter way more than on Instagram and TikTok and in the short form world. Of course, like we know that watch time is the king of the short form world, which it does actually impact your YouTube algorithm as well. But keywords within your title, your thumbnail to capture actually like the eyes, and then the keywords, not only within what YouTube allows you to put in, but even with what you're saying matters a lot more. So one of the things we learned on, I think it was a call before last or something like that, it was basically like YouTube, when they caption out your video, they're making like a text file based on what you're saying. And then every time you're saying San Diego real estate or San Francisco real estate, it's logging as a keyword. So like if you say that word more often, it's actually going to potentially show up more when people are searching for your video. So I really like the differentiating factor between it, because as real estate agents, and we're trying to become digital mayors in our individual town, or we're trying to show expertise, we're trying to, as Tom Ferry says, get people to know you, like you, and trust you. Video allows you to do all three of those things, but long form video is really, in my opinion, like the best way to convey your message, because you don't have to worry about necessarily like getting it as short as possible to get 100% watch time. Like you're really just conveying that out. I'm going to look to see, I think I need to mute someone. Versus long form. So I think that long form gives you the best way to really connect with an audience base so that they can see into who you are, and you can like explain yourself more than just the 6-second little snippet video, which works much more, on Instagram and TikTok and things like that. So correct me if I'm wrong, Bert, like did you jump in here too? Like is that kind of correct on a high level?
That's pretty much exactly it. So yes, it is search based. So I think that's originally how your channel will get started. But eventually, as you build a little bit more audience, it does kind of shift to more algorithm based. So you'll build your channel originally from making videos about, I just do videos about San Diego, moving to San Diego, living in San Diego real estate. So anything San Diego related, I will make a video about. So I started doing these like heavily, like almost 3 years ago now, I guess. And once I started to change my business, like quadrupled my business by doing YouTube videos. So, and I do neighborhood tours, I do market updates, I do best donuts in San Diego. I did a 28-minute video on donuts for some reason. I'm not sure why I did that, but it did not perform that well, just FYI. So maybe not do a donut video. But your video will start off on search. And then once you start to build traction with Google and YouTube, which is they're owned by the same people, you will start to get suggested. So if you get suggested, that's how you get, and recommended is how you get like viral videos. So, I mean, I think my biggest video only has like 87,000 views. So I haven't like gone viral, but for a small localized YouTube channel, it is pretty good. So you can go viral, I think, easier on like a TikTok or Reels or maybe even YouTube Shorts. And I have not even done any YouTube shorts. I'm actually want to dabble into that more, but that's probably a whole nother conversation too. So
Yeah, so YouTube Shorts was coming in. We talked about it a little bit in the short form talk last week, and it's basically their kind of like answer to the short form vertical kind of like platforms. But at the same time, they have early on, a lot of the long form content creators were saying don't do shorts because it impacts your average watch time, which can hurt your channel. Now they've figured out the algorithm to split them out. So you can do YouTube. So a lot of content creators that I was watching were creating separate channels for their shorts, but now you can put them together. So don't worry about doing that. You know what I mean? And I think that you should probably have a healthy marriage of both, because some people consume content in short form and some people consume content in long form. And the early adopter advantage is really important when these new platforms put out a new tool or a new like widget or whatever to use their new thing. They're going to promote your channel a little bit more, you know? So I think it does help to have some short form content too, even if you're a long form content channel. But what I really love about what Burn does is if you go back, I'm going to share it again, but like if you look at his video titles, right, more so than the short form stuff, is you'll see that like he's actually making videos as people would search, right? So because these are search engines, like the titles of these videos are stuff that people would actually be searching if they were looking to move to San Diego, right? So like, that's why the keyword or like the video itself, the content is so much more like tailored to what someone is searching. Because again, if someone comes to YouTube or Google, usually they're typing something, they're looking for some sort of information. Whereas on Instagram and TikTok, you're trying to like stop the thumb with like a catchy hook. But like this matters more because it's very much more like based on what it is that they're looking for right now. So something like this would be like the pros and cons of living in San Diego, right? Someone very likely to type that or just living in San Diego and then looking through the videos. Secondarily, he's got a great thumbnail on all this stuff, right? So that matters because sometimes like if someone searches something and there's 10 things that pop up, it's the thumbnail that people are looking at that they're going to make them click versus another video that has no thumbnail or a crappy thumbnail. And then secondarily, I think, Burn, correct me if I'm wrong, but like because Google owns YouTube, Google has like their not AdSense, but like Google search partners and stuff. So they'll show YouTube videos on other sites as well. And so like the thumbnail will catch that.
Yeah. And the other thing is another good idea to do it if you guys have, I mean, gets a little deeper, but if you have a website or a blog, you make a video about it and then write a blog post about that video. Now your videos will start showing up on Google more too, not just YouTube as well.
So I'm gonna switch over here too. So I don't know if you're still seeing. I'm switching over to Jeremy Knights. Do you see Jeremy's?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you see a very similar thing, and I know Burn, you know Jeremy, right? So he's
I know him well.
Yeah. And so like, it's very similar. He's got these massive channels where he attracts, and I talked to him a couple of weeks ago for our Refer Network thing. He did a speaker session with us and he said he did 50 million in sales just from YouTube last year. You know what I mean? And so people ask all the time, is like, is video content worth it? Is YouTube worth it? You know, like even me for all these years, like I've had a YouTube channel, I think like 400 subscribers, because I park my videos there and I'll use the embed code to then put it into my email, or I'll put it into my website or something, but I never actually tried to like build community on YouTube. And then you start asking around and you talk to agents like Burn and Jeremy, and it's like, oh, no. This is like most of my business, and it's a substantial amount of business. And the thing is like, because we go back to the know, like, and trust, is like when the people actually call you, they already know who you are. Like they're not calling you to interview you to come list a house anymore. They're calling you to hire you, right, Burn?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. These are the best leads you'll ever get in your entire life. I think better than a referral from like your mother. They come in and they hug you the first time they see you, because like they said, a guy stopped me at Starbucks 2 days ago and he goes, Burn. And I had no idea who this guy was. And he's just like, oh my God, this is so weird. We were actually just looking at open houses. We just moved here from Connecticut. We watched all your videos, and they were like starstruck. I'm like, I just trying to get coffee. So
You're a celebrity. But yeah. So what is the average like inbound lead from YouTube look like? Do they just email you, or do they comment?
So I would say like 80% of the leads just email me first, and then I set up a Zoom call with them. I don't have a huge Instagram presence, so I think if people did, they might DM you through that for the most part. Most of the people I get are just straight up emails or phone calls. And then I usually answer the phone like, wait, who is this? I'm like, this is Burn. Like, I didn't think you were going to answer the phone. So that's usually how it starts. And then I just set up a Zoom call. Sometimes they're a year out, sometimes they're a week out. So it just kind of depends.
That's wild. I mean, it's so like I've gotten one or two leads from YouTube throughout my years. Cause again, I don't have a big following on YouTube.
Sure.
And for me, I was like, holy crap, like this person found me on YouTube. This is awesome. And you're right. Both of those people like literally were like, I want to work with you because they've been watching your content for all these years. So, and so you guys get it on like a bigger basis where it's a big majority of your business. I think that's so rad. And so like you said, you do primarily neighborhood based content, right? So like how do you come up with your long form ideas?
So I started off just by doing neighborhood tours. So I would just like, we have like a lot of neighborhoods here in San Diego. So I was started on like a small niche area of it, the 56 freeway kind of thing. So Carmel Valley, Rancho Penasquitas, all these different neighborhoods. And then that's kind of when I started. And then I kind of added more things, like I did list videos, like the pros and cons video. The cost of living videos do really well. Comparing one city versus another city, especially if it's a city that a lot of people come from, like San Francisco versus San Diego, or LA versus San Diego, or whatever it is. So I basically, I mean, I've done like almost 200 videos, so I've done a lot of them. So some work better than others. Neighborhood videos do well long term, and then like real estate market update videos, I do those too, but those do well in the short term. So they'll do well for like a week. My neighborhood tours do well over time. So it kind of, I almost know exactly how well a video is going to do now based on what type of video I'm doing, just because I've done so many of these. Like I have a video about Legoland, California, which is like one of my best performing videos ever, which I thought was going to be, no one was going to watch it. And then I tried to do a SeaWorld video and then no one watched it. So, so sometimes you just can't explain why a video does better than others. But I think it doesn't even matter how many subscribers you have for the most part, as long as you are consistently making videos, if you're, especially for searchable videos. So if you're in Kansas City and you just made videos about Kansas City and you only have 50 subscribers, but someone, you know, you might not get, 20 leads a week, but if you get, 3 leads a month based off of 10 Kansas City videos, it'll pay off. I mean, you can do these videos for free if you know how to edit, even if pay someone from Fiverr to edit. They're very inexpensive to do. People will spend thousands and thousands of dollars on Zillow leads when you can just make videos and people will just come to you. And they're way better than the Zillow lead, I'll tell you that.
And it's evergreen, right? So that one video.
Yeah, these videos will live here forever as long as they don't delete my account.
4 years from now, that they could actually, like your biggest video was 2 years ago, and it's probably still getting views because people are still. Yeah,
that one's still my best performing video per month. That pros and cons video.
Did you know that you have you're 50,000 views away from 1 million?
I know, I'm aware of that.
Are you
pretty close?
Are you going to get a plaque?
No, you only get it for subscribers. You don't get it for views.
You can go to,
and it's hard to get a localized channel.
Go to Etsy.
I think it's 100,000 or something like that.
I think when you get 1 million, I'm going to go to Etsy and make you your own.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
1 million views on YouTube. So you've done a lot of neighborhood content, which I am a big proponent of, right? And so like this is where like August, about halfway through the year, I made a commitment to myself. I was like, I need to get better at YouTube.
I've been telling you to do that for years, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, so
first time I met you, you should do these videos.
So really funny story. Bern used to actually work at Compass. I worked at Compass as well. And then my wife would TC for him. My wife is a transaction manager at Compass, and she thought his name was Bird for the longest time. And then one time I was like, oh, something Bern. And she's like, who's Bern? And then I explained it to her, and she actually was like mind blown. And so, and he never corrected her, I guess. Like
I kind of liked it. I was like, I'll just go with it. So
yeah. So
Bird is the word.
So, but back then, you're right. You've been telling me this since then, you know what I mean? And so like, I leaned into the short form, the Instagram, because there was more of like a branding centric, I felt like, but this is just so much more evergreen and digital mayor-y, which is long-term, probably better content to have out there, to be honest with you. And some mix of both, right? It's not like, because everything he's putting out, his face is also on, he's branding himself too. It's not like it's just the neighborhood or anything like that, right? So I think that this has been a big like focus of mine for the second half, and then moving into next year, is to build up this side of the business, because I think it's really important.
And can I just say one thing about that too? So I started out doing like straight up digital mayor, like interviewing local businesses for like 1.5 years, and I got 1 lead from it. So I shifted to this, like just neighborhood tours and market updates and that sort of thing. And that's when it, like a month in, leads started to flow in. So I'm not saying that the interviewing local business does not work, because I know Kyle Whistle did that pretty well, but it didn't work for me. So
So funny you bring that up, because I also have pulled up Kyle Whistle's page. And so shout out to Kyle. And so he does everything East County, right? And so what really took off for him, or does really well, is East County Eats. And so like here in San Diego, this is like a local, kind of like a small business spotlight series where he goes into different restaurants within East County, which is, oops, we don't need the volume there. But basically he goes in and he interviews almost like diners, drive-ins and dives style, right? He actually comes in, he like has them make like their signature dish, and then he kind of interviews the small business owner and then kind of talks about it. And so like, but see, you can see he hasn't necessarily, but he moved it over to Facebook too. So he does it on YouTube and Facebook. But I think it's really good because it establishes yourself in the community. All these small business owners then reshare it on their pages and stuff like that. And then it does get you some good feedback, because then you can also run ads to it, to the specific kind of area that you're trying to target, right? You can't do zip code targeting anymore, but you can still do radius targeting. So you can start to, because the entire time he's on camera and he's got his logo here. So it does help. But you're right. Like if I think it's more of the neighborhood type stuff that people are searching, because I doubt a lot of people are searching Sarita's Taco Shop in
That was the problem I had with
YouTube.
it. And those videos worked better on Facebook when Facebook was like, you could post any video on there and it would do really well. Now the Facebook algorithm is like so frustrating for a lot of people. I think if you posted this on Facebook now, it would not do as well.
Yeah. I always thought it was really good. It got him some local exposure. And like, again, it's probably getting him in with like the small business owners, which is good. Cause then when they, small business owners know other people who are buying houses, they're going to refer them. But this was a good example of someone taking
all the stuff out of there,
taking small business spotlights and actually doing a really good job with them.
And you see what Kyle's doing now though. Have you seen his most recent videos?
Well, I mean, now he's doing, Kyle's done a great job of doing buyer education videos, which is good. And then now I felt like he's kind of shifted into more of like a teaching how to shoot video, right?
Well, he's also doing pros and cons videos now too.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Does he? Yeah. So he started to tap into this type of stuff, right?
Yep.
So Katie Day, I'm going to share hers as well. So Katie's doing, obviously Katie is in kind of our network as well. She has a huge YouTube following, so to speak, gets a lot of business, and she's kind of done the same thing, right? It's like pros and cons, top 5 things to know, things that people would Google or YouTube as they're coming in. Now, she also does some must visit spots. I can see like the view count isn't the same as those, but I don't know if she's necessarily, I don't know what she's trying to do with these. Maybe she's just using these on Facebook and Instagram, but she does a great job of doing the same type of videos that you do and gets a lot of views on them. Lastly, too, one thing that you can really tap into with YouTube and plays really well is like sexy property videos. You know what I mean? So like shout out to Brad, right? Brad's made basically a huge following on YouTube, and it's been going through and just showcasing all of these houses. And he's got the same kind of model where he's going to like post the funny thumb or the thumbnail with like the price. I think he's kind of stole this or took this from like the Ryan Serhant library too, because Ryan would do the same thing. And he's going through and he's just doing property tours on YouTube. Don't need the sound, but basically he and Brad's very comfortable on camera, right? He's very charismatic. He has a good videographer that gives him like a cool like look when he's going through to do all this thing. But property tours usually do really good as well, because people are searching for homes in San Diego or homes in, and then these usually pop up.
Especially if they're nice houses too. So
yeah, it really helps. Like Ryan Serhant's will pop up because Ryan Serhant, in a sense, is also like, obviously Ryan Serhant, but he's showing off $25 million penthouses, and people like to see that stuff. It's funny though, if you look at the side, I'm watching this and it's showing the recommended videos. They all have the same thumbnail, like kind of like style. And I think these are all very similar to like Ryan Serhant's thing that he started doing back when he was vlogging. But long form video, there's multiple ways to do it. In fact, if I just shared off of it. If you go back to Katie, she has a playlist for all of it. You know what I mean? Obviously, we know Katie does a ton of content, but she's got kind of the burn status. She's got kind of the Kyle Whistle thing. She's got kind of the Brad McCullum thing. You know what I mean? She's got a little bit of kind of educational content. And so she does a great job piecing it all together. So there's a lane for everybody. But what would you say? I see some questions in the chat too. So if you guys want to ask these, jump in. I'm going to have you guys do that too. But what would you say is your, I think you said this earlier, but where do you get your content? Do you actually, some people go to like BuzzSumo or like, right, or some sort of a thing like that to actually look up what's being searched the most? Or do you just based on what
I would basically just go to keywords everywhere and I would type in something in there. Like I would basically come up with the ideas and I would download keywords. It's like a, what do you call a plugin for Google Chrome. And you go type in, say, moving to San Diego, and it'll tell you how many people are searching that.
Wow.
And then how much competition there is for that keyword. So you want to look for a high search but low competition, which can be difficult sometimes on YouTube. But that's especially if you're in a city that you're in a city that no one's really doing this, which is probably not that many these days. Then just try to do those and just see which ones are high search, low cost, low competition, and then start with those videos. I mean, I have a whole list of 100 video ideas for my city. I can send you guys to if you want to do that. And I have a top 15 that I would just start doing. The other thing is you have to be consistent. If you're only going to do one like once every 3 weeks, it's never going to work. So I put one out once a week, like religiously. And if I don't get anything done that week, it has to be just a video to put out, because you can build it back up again. But once you like lose the momentum, sometimes YouTube, it'll take a little while to get it back. So
is there any science behind, like, has Google come out or YouTube come out and said like, hey, if you don't post, you know what I mean?
No, not necessarily. Like there's a guy, Mark Rober, he's a big YouTuber and he only does once a month. So he has like millions and millions of subscribers. Granted, his videos are like super like science experimenting, that sort of thing. But like I know another guy that basically posts like twice a month. This guy, Paul Wolfert in Michigan, he does awesome videos and he has a huge following. His is all about moving to Michigan. And his videos are fantastic. He scripts all his videos, so he doesn't always put out a video every week. But his videos are so informational and detailed, and he's good on camera. So I just do it every week because I'm not that great on camera. So I just the more consistent I am, the better I can get out there. And mine are more conversational. If I have to script something and try to read it, I'm terrible at it. But if I can have a conversation about it, I'm pretty good with it. So.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of the same way.
So just find what works for you and just be as authentic to you as it should. Never sell. I barely even mention that I'm a real estate agent. People figure it out pretty quickly on there. So at the end, I'll just say, hey, if you're ever looking to buy or sell here in San Diego, I'd love to help you out. Thanks for watching. Catch us next time. That's it. That's the only thing I ever talk about that I'm in real estate. People, if you start watching your videos, they'll know, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, they can
put a little tag that says you're a real estate agent, but that's about it.
Yeah, for sure. They can see that in either your banner or in your caption, in your caption or something like that. Yeah. But Josh, you have a question for Bern.
Yes, I did.
On stage.
You had mentioned at the beginning that you recommend making a blog post out of your YouTube videos. Are you doing that for every single video, or do you have kind of a formula for?
I was doing it for so I don't write the articles, so I have a social media girl that does it. So she would charge me $40. I make the video, she watches it and makes a video about it. So I was doing it for every video, and then I kind of reworked my website. So I was making neighborhood tour videos. Now I'm going to go back to doing the blogs, because a lot of my blogs were ranking on YouTube, and I could see that's where a lot of my views were coming from. You can see then the analytics on YouTube are like absolutely amazing. You can see every single detail about every single video, who's watching it, where they're watching it from, where they came from, how long they watched the video. So it's just that you can kind of figure out like, okay, where the drop off on your video is. Like, okay, now I got to change the video to make it like, don't do a big intro on your videos either. So I used to have this 10-second intro, beautiful video about San Diego, yay. And then I noticed there were people would just drop off during that. I'm like, okay, I just got rid of it altogether. Now I have a 1-second like little intro type thing, and then it gets right into the content. Like you could almost not have any intro at all and just it's like, these are the top 10 reasons to move to San Diego. That would be the best intro you could possibly have on a video. People's attention span are so low these days that if you don't get right into the content, you're going to lose like half your audience right off the bat.
Wow, you're saying that you can tell when they watched on your blog post versus...
Well, no, not on the blog post, but just when they watched. So you can tell them if they came from the blog post versus just going straight to YouTube. But you can see how every single person, like your retention rate's very important. So if I usually like to make videos between like 6 and 10 minutes. Sometimes I make them longer depending on the content. And basically the shorter videos usually have longer retention rate just because shorter. And I can always make a video shorter. Sometimes I put in too much information. I'm like, oh, I should have made that tighter. And you could have got the same point across of it. So, but yeah, my sweet spot's usually like 6 to 8 minutes for videos.
I feel like there's certain things that carry over from the short form class we did last week, where it's like, yeah, get right into it, right? No intro. Watch time is still the most important factor, one of the most important factors, but people's psychology when they're on YouTube, they're ready to watch a longer video to get the information that they're looking for.
That's true. They are willing to last longer on YouTube, obviously, than they are on TikTok or Reels and that sort of thing. And then the two things that are most important to get people to watch it are your title and your thumbnail. So focus. I used to not spend any time on thumbnails at all. I'm like, okay, I use a screen grab from the video and throw something on there. Now it's like, if you can make the best video in the world, but if you have a terrible thumbnail, no one will ever see it. So you can, but I can also make a really good thumbnail and then make a crappy video, and then your retention rate is really low. They'll watch it for a minute and like, oh, this video sucks, but he had a great thumbnail. So you got to try to combine both of them to it. And like the tags are important, but like you said, Google like scans your video for all the words. So honestly, I wouldn't spend a ton of time on the tags, but the title and thumbnail, really think about how you're going to combine those two together.
Are you still making your own covers?
I make my thumbnails. Yeah.
Use Canva.
I might outsource that one day, but right now I'm just making. I use PicMonkey. Canva and PicMonkey are the two ones that are easiest to use. PicMonkey has more features, I think, in my opinion. I used to use Canva, but you can't do everything you can do on PicMonkey.
I'm putting those in the.
And then you can remove backgrounds on both of them. You got to get the pro version, I think, for each of them, but it's totally worth the money if you.
So that you can put like the rendering of like your headshot on top of a background.
Yes, exactly. You can put like mine on the top of the Coronado Bridge or something like that. So
yeah, cool. Okay.
Can you give an example of what you use on PicMonkey that you couldn't find on Canva?
So like the drop shadow, I know it sounds like once you get into these things, there's like a lot of little details in there, and just like you want your face to pop. I put my face on like most of it, unfortunately, and that might hurt my channel, but
it helps.
You can like brighten your face. You can almost make your face look fake, like it's almost like a cartoon, because you want your face to like pop off the screen. Facial expressions always help. Just like there's just a lot of things that it can make it. Like, if you ever watch Mr. Beast, like try to do, if you guys know who Mr. Beast is, how he does his thumbnails, his are so colorful and vibrant. It's like you cannot, your eyes just gravitate to it. So that's why you're trying to make it pop. So, and the other way to do it is to type in wherever city you're in, say living in whatever, Boise, and just look at all the videos and where do your eyes go to when you look at it? So which video do you get attracted to first? And then like, okay, I should copy that, or do a better way to do a different city that you're not in, and then copy the most popular one in that city and do it your city. I do this a lot, so.
That's good. I steal from like a Jake Paul, Mr. Beast, right? Those major YouTubers. And the reason being is that not necessarily that I like their style, it's but that they're tapped in. They talk to YouTube, they talk to the people, so they know the best tips. So like it's almost one of those things like find the people who coach with Jason Pantana and then just do what they do and you get to coach with Jason Pantana.
Graham Stephan does good thumbnails. Was a real estate agent. I'm not sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so there was a second question in there. He's muted, so I'll ask it for him. But Parker Hayes said, Burn, best call to actions that you've had success with.
Like, I guess I don't do a ton of call to actions on mine just because I want people to know, like me and trust me. And then like, oh, I would work with this guy. Yeah. So like I do that thing at the end. I should probably get people to subscribe like halfway through the video.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
And I don't do that. And I think I'm going to start doing it. But at the end, all I do is just like, thanks for watching. If you're ever thinking about moving to moving to San Diego, I'd love to help you out. Thanks for watching. Catch us next time. That's it. Shorter, quick, and just to the point. Some people will do this long intro in the first minute and they'll tell them, like, oh, I'm a real estate agent in San Diego. My name is Burn McGovern. I'm with Compass, and I would love to help you buy or sell a home. And then a minute and 30, they still haven't got into the content that they're talking about. So I think the less you talk about yourself, the better you will do.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard people strategize that putting the call to action in the middle now is the most effective.
Yeah, do it in the middle. I should do it in the middle. And
especially if you have like a listicle type article where it's like 3 best reasons and you put it after number 1 or 2, because then they're still going to stick around to see the final.
Yeah, they're already invested in the video. So if you do a little plug in the middle, it's not going to really hurt you. So
yeah, versus if you do it at the end, they know the video is over because
sometimes people click off before I even get to my thing. So I was like, shit, I should do it in the middle. So
yeah. Juan asked, do the length of the videos matter? We talked about that a little bit. Like obviously like a little bit shorter is going to perform better, but is there like a sweet spot that you found on YouTube?
Honestly, this is what I have like a YouTube coach and he basically said, make them as long as they need to be. So if you're doing a top 10 video, then do it, but try to talk about each one about the same length. Don't try to talk about one that's like 3 minutes and this one is only 1 minute. So just keep the pace similar for whatever, if you're doing, especially if you're doing a list video, because if I found myself doing that in the early days. Like I would say, why did I talk 3 minutes about the weather? I'm like, I shouldn't have talked about, moved on that, especially the weather. The weather is pretty obvious one to talk about. So it's, yeah, basically as long as they need to be, which is kind of a weird answer, but I never try to go past like 15 minutes is like the longest, unless I do a YouTube live. We do YouTube, that's a whole other conversation. I go about an hour on YouTube lives. So YouTube lives are easier when you build a little bit of an audience. So I would wait till you have like 1,000 subscribers before you go live. Otherwise you're gonna have like 2 people on there. So and one of them is probably your mom. So I would probably, I get like 50 people on my YouTube lives. So, which is enough to like really keep I can go longer because people just keep asking questions if the bigger you get. So
yeah, Jeremy's mentioned that too. He gets,
yeah, his are really good too.
He gets good community from his live, That's awesome. Richard, saw your question. Jump in here.
Yeah, just wondering if because Brad's McCollum seems to have just all listing videos and they're sick. And then, like you kind of have the Jeremy route, the channel junkies. I know.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know if you know who they are, but
I know channel junkies.
Yeah, channel junkies seem to do kind of what you're doing, and that's what they teach. But then Katie Day kind of has it all there, but you see that her views for listing videos are small.
Well, no one's videos are going to perform as well as Brad's, I feel like, for listing videos. I mean, there's a few people throughout the country that do them really well. He's got that personality for the listing videos. I do listing videos, and my videos get like 1,500 views ish, which is pretty good. But
would you create separate channels though? Like if you're gonna do listing, because I live in San Francisco.
I've been told I should.
So 2 different channels.
I won't create 2 different channels, but you probably should.
Okay.
Because I think my videos, the way I do my listing videos, it's almost like a mini neighborhood tour inside of a listing video. So I'll like go around on a lot of them. I'll do one, like I did the La Mesa one, not like last year at some point. So I just walked around downtown La Mesa and then got into listing video at the end. So I almost do combination ones, and Brad does just straight listing videos. So I think it just kind of depends on how you do your listing videos too.
Yeah. Because I write song parodies, and I'm trying to create those like listing videos with the song parodies all kind of combined. And I know those aren't going to play same as like the channel junkie model.
Well, do you think are you going to do the channel junkie model too?
As well as, yeah. So okay. I'm thinking that 2 channels is probably the way to go.
I mean, they are different types of videos. Like if I was smarter, I probably would do 2 different channels, but I like to have it all in one spot because I think my audience do like my listing videos because they've already know us. So they don't really care what video I put out for the most part. But if I was to do it over again, I don't know. I think 2 channels is just exhausting. So I don't, that's why but I think it might work better if you did it 2 separately.
Got it.
I mean, this is not this is just opinion then, but I think that there's probably going to optimize better if you have 2 channels because the views of people. But that being said, like you also want the people to correlate it all with you, right? So the Katie Day model of having all the different sub playlists, I think works too.
Because she's got 4,000 subscribers, so she's doing pretty well. So.
Yeah, I mean, she's crushing too. I'm not just saying like numbers wise, but I think that it's almost like going back to like the having 2 accounts and having 2 this. It's like, yeah, like sure, optimization wise, like having those split might perform better, but also like the whole point of the entire thing of every piece of content you put out is to get people to like recognize you and work with you. So having it all in the same place is going to help.
Yes.
But you're right.
That's why I don't want us to do 2 different separate ones too. And they don't perform terribly. So if they perform terribly on my channel, I probably would have made 2 separate ones, but they perform fairly close to my other one. So for me, it didn't make sense to make 2 different ones.
I see the issue with, and I think we've talked about this before, maybe even last week, when people like go viral for something that's not in their niche. And then the problem is that they have 100,000 followers that don't care about real estate, right? Mm-hmm. And now it's like, then all the videos start performing terribly because you got all these followers from a bikini shoot you did at you know what I mean? Like Richard, you know what I mean? I mean, just you go crazy for your bikini shoots, and then you got all these people wanting to see the thirst traps, and then you just start showing them houses, and now nobody cares anymore. And so I can see that being an issue. We've talked about that, I think, either last week or in a different mastermind, but basically like going viral for the wrong thing can really hurt you. But I think if you're just trying to promote all stuff that's somewhat semi real estate related, it's just different kind of avenues of it. I think it can help to have it all be in the same spot.
For sure.
I don't know. That's just a theory, I guess. All right. So in order, you would say title, thumbnail, keywords.
So I would say title. I would say, yeah, title, thumbnail, basically 1A, 1B, and then everything else is secondary.
Got it. And then once a
And then
week,
make a good video. Make a good
For
video.
me,
once a week, shoot it horizontally, put
stuff is
captions
coming
on.
out of there.
Yeah, don't put vertical unless you're just doing shorts. So
Yeah, exactly. And then basically start to establish yourself in things that people would be searching for your neighborhood, and start to shoot video for it and answer those questions. And then obviously use Keyword Explorer if you want some ideas as to what to search. Look for high search, low competition.
keywords everywhere. Keywords everywhere.
Keywords everywhere. Oh, that's right. I put it in the chat. Keywords everywhere. And then start to grow. And then I imagine that there's probably just like normal community building stuff, right? Replying to comments, doing, we get to a certain point, you start doing lives, maybe having people like obviously be able to go from your YouTube to your Instagram and back and forth, right? Like kind of normal stuff that we all know from these different masterminds that we're on.
Yeah, all good points.
Cool. All right, Bern, thank you so much, man. Does anybody else have any questions for Bern about long form YouTube content before we end the call? Your wealth of knowledge, you answered everything.
And if you guys ever have a question in the future, feel free to reach out. I love talking about this. So
yeah, so if they need to find you, obviously they can search Bern McGovern or Bern live on the 56.
Off the 56.
Off the 56. Live off the 56. That's his YouTube channel. I think I showed it to you earlier, but go give him a follow. Looks just like this, living in San Diego with Bern and Courtney. Go give him a subscribe, a follow, and reach out to him if you have any questions. Bern, thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thanks
All
for
right,
having
guys.
me.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much. We'll see you next Thursday. And I don't remember what the topic is. I think it's geographic farming. So I'll see you guys next Thursday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.